What you're seeing and hearing right now is the Jimmy Nolan Brook, running serenely and unimpeded through Smith College's MacLeish Field Station.
Just 100 feet downstream, this peaceful trickling is completely inaudible.
The running water slows, pooling in a wide, swampy marsh.
The trees are felled, giving way to a bright, open skylight in the forest's canopy.
New plant growth stretches towards the light from the forest floor.
This is the work of beavers. We took a hike with the MacLeish Field Station manager, Paul Wetzel,
to see the beaver territory for ourselves.
Beavers are very clever, and they set up at pinch points in the river floodplain area. Then they have some kits. After a couple years, they have to go find their own way. In this case, the young ones went upstream. And so they started making these small check dams, and they're starting to dam further upstream. That's how it sort of spread up the river side. Almost all beaver ponds and things, they really have a 15 to 20 year life cycle, and then the beavers leave. The dam might still be operational for a couple of years. Motion detector cameras that you put on trees and things have been set up so you can see what crosses the dam. There's lots of things. There's otters there, there's herons, there's cats, there's deer.
With so many environmental changes converging around the beavers, we had to ask Paul about the shift in landscape.
And if it could be a good or bad thing, or somewhere in between.
The beavers have been affecting the landscape at MacLeish by transforming the ecosystem from forested canopy to open marsh. When you go down there and you actually see what's happening, feel the light difference, and look at how many different kinds of plants there are, the transformation is actually pretty remarkable.
We also sat down with Rosa Weinberg, an architecture professor at Smith College and self-described beaver fan, to get her perspective on what's going on at MacLeish.
Beavers flood the landscape. Beavers also cut down trees, but they create this ecosystem for thousands of species. The water deepens, the quality of the water changes, fish come and live there. When you think about beavers and what you should do with a beaver if you have beavers on your land, it's a really gray question. They have so many positive effects, but they also have negative effects on our ecosystem. But are we the most important species? Should we always win? I think is a question that I would want beavers to sort of provoke people to think about. They can flood crops. They can dam up a culvert and flood a road. They can cut down, trees that are precious to people. But they also have an incredibly positive effect. They're carbon sinks. So if we're looking at climate change, having more wetlands is a great way to take care of that.
Rosa also helped us ground our research in historical context.
So beavers were trapped to near extinction in Europe. Trappers came over to North America and decimated a population of almost 400 million beavers. I don't know what it went down to, but I think there are approximately 20 million beavers today. So if you imagine a landscape that was completely occupied by beaver dams, by beaver ponds, when they dried up, it created great farmland that fueled a lot of the great farmland in the US. Their wetlands helped with fire breaks. It's also helped with droughts. Beaver ponds hold a lot of water and increase water tables. Beavers also, like humans, alter our landscapes in dramatic ways. We're both keystone species. Humans, beavers, large trees create environments for other species. Historically, when beaver ecosystems and our ecosystems have overlapped, we've destroyed the beavers, we've trapped them. But in the last 20, 30 years, probably longer, but that I know of, people have been looking at ways to coexist with beavers.
Once we became attached to our impressive subjects, we were dismayed to learn that something wasn't quite right.
MacLeish is a large natural area and could support a beaver population, as it is doing right now. So I would want you to think of ways to encourage them. Can we plant trees for them to support their population? Because at a certain point, they will run out of easily accessible trees and they'll move on.
I actually don't know that the beavers are there. It's kind of interesting. Well, after I went down, they were there, but like earlier.
Anywhere in the stream?
Remember when we went down there, you see all those trees that are gnawed on? You know, the wood's old, like it's months ago that happened. That's unusual. You should be able to see fresh cuts, and it's not there. And I told you that beaver dam looked a little shabby. Their dams are still holding water, but I'm just wondering if for some reason the beavers left or got killed or something. I'm totally speculating. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing, and that it doesn't look active, you know? And so, which surprised me, because this spring I went down there and it looked very active. But this is what happens. It's not a static system, right?
With the beaver population gone, we have to think about the future of the beaver cycle at MacLeish and other spaces claimed by humans across New England and the rest of North America.
I think it's better to look at a systems approach and how can we have more wetlands, let's just say in North America. Can we really prioritize them in certain places? Can that affect urban planning? Can we have them within a city? Can we plan to have more wetlands around us?
All this cycles through. When those dams break, you're going to get this whole flush of very good soil. You're going to get this flush of plants that are going to grow along the bottom of the beaver pond till it gets to the channel. And then you're going to start seeing trees 30 years out, starting to get a canopy, and then maybe the beaver come back. Gnaw it all down, build some more dams, and the process starts over. They'll come back to about the same place. Unless the geography changed, they're going to go to the same place because that's where you build your dam. It's a cycle that was interrupted by European fashions of the 1700s. Beaver were trapped out all up and down every stream in New England and up the Missouri River, and totally transformed the landscape by taking them off. And it really was kept low in this area until the 1990s.
If you in the middle of summer go to a wetland that a beaver created, there are thousands of species that have a home there. It's, you know, people fly thousands of miles to go to beautiful places that, you know, have rich ecosystems. But we have them right here in New England. Beavers make those beautiful ecosystems right here. We don't appreciate it, but swamps are beautiful places.
Though the beavers might be gone, we are left with the remnants of their presence.
Deep in the forest of MacLeish, accessible by a slightly treacherous and muddy hike, or through the high-flying eye of a drone, we can see what the beavers left behind.
Open skylights in the canopy,
Pools rich in sediment,
Chewed fallen trees,
and telltale beaver dams now used by the neighbors while their architects are away.
While we wait for their return, beavers have already transformed the landscape for years to come.